All right, we are live. I bet we have a couple of folks on the screen today. Thank you all for your patience and sorry for the delay. We did have some unforeseen circumstances this morning. I just want to, before we even get started, if I could just mention the gratitude of how the Neteru shows up in our lives every day, even when we are all going through things. Him, Neteru Waziri, although he's here in spirit and he's here on screen, he's not feeling so well today. So that was the delay. But just as the Neteru has it, I always have my Sanet Oye, who's always in the cut waiting to help with our Hemnetter Ames that you all see here with us this morning. He's been feeling under the weather. He gets the link every week. And when I see him show up on this, it's always at the right time. I mean, it just, the way things happen, it's always in divine order. So for you showing up here this morning, it is not by coincidence or mistake. It just always happens when it's supposed to. You know what I mean? And I think the Neteru guides us all in the direction that when we don't know it, we just follow the direction and we're where we're supposed to be. So I got to give thanks to the Neteru. We always give thanks to the Neteru, but I have to say that, and I've got kind of chills a little bit this morning because I will say when I Hemnetter Wasiri and us, we speak every Sunday morning. We don't do any rehearsals, any of that kind of stuff. But when he didn't answer this morning and I spoke with Sanet Oye, I said, something's wrong. I'm going to call Sanet Tara. Something's wrong. I don't know what it is. And I want to stress that I wasn't concerned about the prayer session. I was more so concerned about Hemnetter, you know. And so that really wasn't the case. It was more so something's wrong. And just as I said that, I've got a witness right here. My phone rang. And it was Sanet Tara. Say, just to confirm exactly what I was thinking is that something wasn't right. So you all continue to send prayers his way, and we'll even dive deeper into that prayer and raise that up for both Hemnetter Wasiri and Ames when we get to that section. But I just wanted to give a brief thanks for that because the Neteru really just leads us.
Yes. Let me throw in there that last night before going to bed, someone said, check your email. I hadn't checked my email in a while, and I checked my email and I seen you there. And it says, you got to be up early in the morning because you got to get ready to chime in. Nobody have heard from you and you're now able to speak. And so I got up early, I got, did my things. And I was like, I wasn't sure what the time, but I was like, I said, I don't want to interrupt it. I said, I'm just going to pop in and hope that I'm still in the cycle. And you hadn't even begun yet. So, yeah, it's divine order because it was on me to make sure I had to be in today. And look, as you said, the Neterus and Divine said, this group will not be without a Hemnetter today. So there you go.
Don't do it.
And I'm going to reach out to our other Hemnetters that I am in contact with. And I suggest to you that if you have contact with them, just let them know that you miss them. Let them know to come in and say hello. They don't have to do anything. We all are on different paths since the pandemic, but they can come in. And I'm sure they come in. Sometimes you just gotta ask, so that's all I'll say and let you begin.
All right, Dwa. So Hemnetter, do we have permission to begin?
You do have permission to begin.
Dwa. All right. Well, we will start with the opening of the way, as we always do. Sanet Oye, are you prepared for the opening of the way? You should have known I was going to do that.
I am.
All right. Well, we will mute and we will let you take us away with it.
Okay. One second.
Oh, the beginning?
Okay.
I had to get my little microphone clipped here so it don't fall off. All right, so we are. I am facing the east, so we're gonna stand in the pose of adoration, and we're gonna take our 3 deep breaths. And on the third breath, we are going to chant the word of life, and then we'll go straight into the opening of the way. Excuse me for 1 second. My little dog want to make her debut. Answer out. Come on. No, get out.
When you want to out, you don't stay out. When you want to in, you don't.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna try to do it with her. Hopefully, she's not a distraction. All right. Take your first deep breath in. Let it out. Second deep breath in. Let it out. Third deep breath in, and when you let it out, we're going to chant the word Hanisharakin bedhead.
And the track in bed.
Anishakapi. Nukapi.
New happy.
Twawinter.
Enter.
Turn to the right. Anisharak circuit.
And the track circuit. New circuit.
Anisharak kepsanu.
And the track kept
Kepsanu.
new
Twawinter.
enter.
Turn to the right. Anisharak asked.
And the track I. Nuke us.
I'm set.
And the track I'm set. Nuke I'm set.
Enter.
Enter.
Turn to the right. Anisharak neat.
And the track neat. Nuke neat.
Dwa mutef. Nuke dwa mutef.
Nuke drum.
Enter. Turn to the right. Anisharak newt.
And the track
Newt.
Nuke.
Anisharak geb. Geb.
Nuke yeah.
Wow. Enter.
Enter.
Anisharak shoe.
And the track shoe.
Shoe. Nuke shoe. Anisharak tefnut.
And the track
Tefnut. Nuke tefnut. Anisharak paut interu. Nuke paut interu. Anisharak ambu interu.
Natural and boo, natural.
Ambu interu.
Nuke and boo, natural.
Wow enter.
Enter.
Word of life. Dwa enter.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Never. I will say it, but the
I'm
open.
practicing. I'm working on it, so you might hear it a couple of different ways.
Right?
That's a good one that you're doing where before you do the chain of life, we should always take that intake of air into our lungs let it prepare the body to go through the mantra that we are doing. So that is good. That's a practice that I learned from Baba R Hrw. So in a sense, Baba's spirit was there because that's how we learned how to, we just didn't go home. You had to prepare the lungs for in the body to do the posture that we are doing. Dua.
Dua, dua. So with that, we'll say, Dua Baba Heru, Ankra, Semad, Shepata. Ma'at Heru, opener of the way, bearer of Ma'at, custodian of the Ankh. We continue the ritual which you brought to us as we live the legacy today. Dua, dua, dua. All right. That was great. So let's go ahead and set the feather so we can get into what Him Netter Almas will bring us today. So as we set the feather with the 4 breaths of life. The first, of course, we are going to take a deep breath and we are going to clear our minds. Take the breath. And the second one, take a breath to clear our spirits. And the third, we take a breath to lighten our heart. And the fourth and final, I apologize. We're going to breathe in Ma'at and exhale Set. We awake to live in Ma'at. I align my thoughts, my words, and actions with Ma'at. May Ma'at be the guiding force of all that we do and say here, each and every one of our members here. With that being said, and let me go ahead and put that up on the screen, and we will have Him Netter Ames go ahead and proceed with today's reading. I'm just going to put on the screen as to where it's coming from with the Say today.
Hi, everyone. I am so happy to be with you today. As you know, I'm still on my healing journey, but I'm recovered. So, before I got online today, I went into my library and I grabbed a book because I always like to add. So, from what I'm going to read today, I hope everyone can see um, it is a great book. I bought this, as you can see, it's kind of bought this back in the 90s. It might, so you will be able to get this book. It has nice proverbs. I believe as we practice this ancient tradition, um, this is another book I suggest you keep with you every day. You can put into a bag, it's light, or in your pocket. As you know, in all the other traditions, they do walk around with their own spiritual readings, and we should do this too. So I just opened up the book and it opened up on double nature of human beings on balance and harmony. So it is gonna, when you get the book, it's gonna be pages 64 and 65. It's a good little reading, and then we can go over what is presenting to us. Humankind is the sole animal that is twofold. One part is simple, the human, the essential as says the Greeks, but which we call the form of divine similitude. Humankind is also fourfold, that which the Greeks call hylic, which we call cosmic. Torah are the forms of food for the soul and body, of which all animals consist. Some are nourished with the twofold forms, while others with a singular. Their soul is nourishment by the ever restless motion of cosmos. Their bodies have their growth from food drawn up from the waters and the earth of the inferior world. Neter has made humankind of soul and body that is of internal and mortal nature, so that an animal thus blends can content the dual origins, admire and worship things in heaven, and cultivate govern things on earth. For it is plain that humankind could not have sustained the strain of both unless forms out of the both natures as to be able to possess the power of cultivating earthly things and loving heaven. Some things is added to thee, unlike to what you seest. Some things animate thy clay higher than all that is objected of thy senses. Behold what it is, excuse me. Thy body remaineth perfected matter after it is fled, therefore it is no part of it. It is immaterial, therefore it is accountable for its actions. Harmony is union of opposites. In all thy undertaking, let a reasonable assurance animate thy ever doing. If you despair of success, you shall not succeed. Set your goodness for people, then you are greeted by all. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swings, manifests in everything. The measurement of the swing to the right is the measurement to the left. Rhymes compensate. Rhythm compensate. On talking. Speak not too much, for men are deaf to the man of many words. Be silent rather. Thou shalt you please. Therefore speak not. Before all things guard thy speech, for man ruins lies in his tongue. The body is a storehouse, full of manners of answers. Choose therefore the right one and speak well. Let the wrong answer remain imprisoned in thy body. Mingle others in a board by the car. Words cannot give wisdom if they stray from the truth. Again, this is the double nature of the human being on balance and harmony. It went on to other things, but I will start with those two. We can approach that again. But we can approach that again. So that is the reading today. It is very in depth. As you can see, as always, we being of the shrine of Ma'at, we understand the dual nature of all things. Remember that in the creation of this world, the divine force of Nebuchadnezzar, or Ra, as we like to look at it, had to use Ma, M-A-A, Ma, to stand on before it began to create. And a way, this is getting deep into our scientific knowledge of man. Our human beings, we are animals. As you see, it is spoken in this thing that we are animals. We do animalistic things. We of the mammal. We also can go far back into our DNA, into reptilian essence. A lot of us have to learn now that, as one of our grandmaster teachers, I'll get his name straight in a minute, but when we talk about science, Science for us is the ability to see spirituality. Is for us to see spirituality, and spirituality is unseen science.
Mhm.
Okay, so a lot of that is being brought forth here in these words of the dual nature, that it talks about food. Tawar are the forms of food for the soul and body, of which all animals consist. So some of the nourishment is with twofold forms, while others are singular. Thus, their souls is nourished by the everlasting motion of cosmic. Their bodies have grown from the food drawn up on from the waters and the earth of the inferior world. So we are taking in nourishment to um, to nourish this body, contain it. But it's, what does it say? It comes from an inferior world.
Mhm.
It comes, it's letting you know it's inferior to that divine cosmic nourishment that you will we seek for and we use every day. So in essence, you as we know, we are duality. We recognize how even in the spiritual world we recognize the car, the spirit, and bar, the soul. It's duality through all the essence and things that we go. Not only should you nourish your car, you have to nourish your soul. Okay, and 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 just as you taking food and water, uh, but remember that what we are taking in, the substance that we are taking in, is just to maintain the shell of this instrument being used on this earthly plane, and that um, some things are good for you and some things are bad. Um, and you going to partake of it, you know, and you have to. We must also understand that not everything affects everyone the same way. Given being like I'm going to use a short example for me, as all know that I am going through recovering from cancer that we were able to catch and take out, and now under their the scientific world, the world of doctors and things of how they do cancer, the next step was chemo and radiation, which I was fearing and wasn't too sure, but I said I will go through it. Now, doing that process, some of you see me at the beginning of the process. I was handling it pretty well. By that third week, I had to tell you that right after, a lot of y'all that seen me at the ceremony for Dwa R Hrw, it went very south, and I mean very south to the point that I not only couldn't talk, but I couldn't eat or drink. And when I finally was able to drink, I had to I had to take a straw and go back. Now I wasn't, and they had all this medicine for me to take, for the pain and stuff. But my mind was saying, well, I don't have the substance to do this. So how can I get some nourishment in my body? How can I get something to sustain me while I'm doing this? Well, science, the thing they had came up with this thing called, I'm sure you heard of, Ensure. So my mom said, go look about this Ensure. And I went in and got me a box of Ensure. It was liquid. I ended up picking the one with the highest protein intake. And that was and so in my mind, I was getting nourishment, and then I said, I'll get some water in. I had fallen off. And that must remind me when I turn this over and we get more discussion in, and I had to get the water in. And that's what I was on for practically 3 weeks.
Wow.
Now, right? That's what all I could take in. And I went to see the doctor. They said, oh, you not do okay, we're going to give you a week off. And me, I was like, week ain't going to help me get through this. The pain, it was excruciating, but I did it. But guess what? I went in, I was 170. I had gotten up to 175, and I was like, where you see 175 at? I'm looking at mine. It was all in here. The last time I weighed, they weighed me, I'm down to 157.
Wow.
So I lost a lot. I still don't see it, but the belt buckle is not in the one loop anymore. My pants are all up. So what I'm saying is, there's that inferior, but the nourishment, my spiritual nourishment, the singular, was helping me to get through while I was using in all this inferior stuff of the world was going on in my body. You understand? So now I from that reading, I'm understanding, you know, that the food, the substance, everything we take in is inferior on the physical plane to the cosmic. Not saying it doesn't have its place,
Mhm.
but it's inferior to the cosmic. It's, and it's poor. It had to be inferior for there to be balance.
Mhm.
It could not be all balance. It does not work. It had to, in order for the scales to have balance, it has to have something. So people will ask you, well, you say my aunt has a feather on one side in the jaw. I don't see the balance there. Well, yes, it is, because we, in our actions, help our heart to stay light as a feather. In our duality and the things that we do every day in practice in any form of, and do not be so hard on yourself. There are things that this this journey we call lives, of things that's going to be what some might say not negative, but that negativity is needed to help you to balance out, to recognize certain things and make adjustments in life. It's always gonna be that, because physically, if you see it, even with your heart out in there, that jar is heavy than a feather.
Hmm.
For reasons in your mind of concept of matter and substance, if you put a jar next to a feather on the scales, it's gonna go this way. So what are you filling in the jar? You figure if you put stuff into this jar, it's gonna remain heavy.
Mhm.
But the jar is the physical, the feather is the cosmic, the essence. And so
Hmm.
what you pour into that, or in your heart, it goes into that jar, will make it rise.
That's right.
It'll tilt and all this. This is you always doing an adjustment. You're always doing an adjustment. You're always through this journey of life will be doing this adjustment. And your goal is by the time that your functions, your physical body, whatever means it says, it's time to ascend to the next level, that it's balance. So somebody telling you always, I'm always balanced. Every one of us will always balance that cosmic force with the physical things that we have here. That's my intake on a little bit of what was going on there, and I will turn it over to see if anyone in the group has anything to say. Are you?
Okay. Well, one of the things that stuck out mainly was harmony is the union of opposites. Everything flows in and out. And like you said, the scale, as much as it tilts to the left, it also tilts equally to the right. So what I gather out of that is, as you said, we have the cosmic, we have the physical. Everything is all interconnected. And that helps us to, as you would say, overstand or understand that, just like we were talking about as animal beings, we have to have food, we have to have nourishment. And yes, we will partake in a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But if it's all out of balance, then the body is going to continue to try to find its balance. If it's aligned, and it doesn't mean, like you said, everything affects people different ways. You have folks that are vegan, folks that are, so there are different things, not just in food, but just in the things that we read, the things that we think, the things that we eat and partake in. That is going to, whatever we think has to be in balance with what the body's going to feel based off of that thought, based off of that food product that we put into our body, based off of, and what it's going to, it's a whole ripple effect. So you think it, whether it's by reading or feeling, you think it, you feel it, you act upon it. So just like you were saying during your treatment, you couldn't eat, you couldn't drink. So what did you do? You found an alternative, which technically is not an alternative. It's what you needed at that time. That Ensure was what you needed. It wasn't necessarily an alternative, although we may be used to chewing and eating and cooking and different things. At this time, those things were not in balance or in harmony with what you needed at that time. And for whatever reason, whether it be that you couldn't due to the pain or whether your body needed a break from those substances, whatever the case may be, balance is going to be a force of nature that we cannot manipulate because it's always going to try to restore itself. And as you said, when our bodies reach the expiration time here on the physical plane of this earth, the goal is to have that scale balanced. And sometimes when you are acting upon what we consider ma'at, without even knowing in its repetition, things are always going to be trying to balance themselves out, even without us physically trying to manipulate it and balance it. I did this wrong. Like you just said a moment ago, we have to not be so hard on ourselves because we're in a constant cycle of trying to fix ourselves. We're born thinking that most of us were born thinking that we were born in sin. So we chase this.
No, that was taught to us. That was taught to us. We didn't think it.
Yeah, we didn't think it, but it was a thought that was put on us.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're racing through life trying to fix a broken part of you that possibly was never broken. So your body and your soul and your spirit is still trying to balance this imbalance. Something that you may not have even caused. You know what I mean? Something that we allowed, we didn't know any better. Unto the mouth of babes, when you come into the world, we're sponges. So we believe a lot of things that that are told to us and said to us. But divine order is going to do what it does no matter what. You know what I mean? Even
No
without
matter what.
trying, no matter what. You also said in the text that guard thy speech, for man ruins lives with his tongue. That was something stuck out to me because so many, I'll say us because it's people in general. We want to guide. We want to be guides and we want to, say certain things, but mind thy tongue. Is better to be silent and act and observe. And if there's change that you deem necessary, be that change. There was an old saying, be the change you want to see. Sometimes the words, I tell people all the time, you follow man, he's going to lead you to hell with gasoline draws on. And I don't mean he or she, but just like the text says, guard thy speech, for man ruins lives with his tongue. And it might not be intentional, but man is going to speak based off of what that man feels, what that man is going through. And although we're all connected, we're all on our individual scientific experiments as we are having this human experience. You know what I mean? So everybody's going through a different level of something. So my advice to you may not work for you.
No, it might not. And everyone is, that's why you take a little bit from here and there. You're listening. Advice is things that sometimes comes from life experience. And it's up to you to take that and to mold it into something that you can use. You might not be able to use all of it. That's why the teachings of the Kemetic people, and matter of fact, I'm trying to not just put it on Kemet as so much as our ancient ancestors that followed the Nile River as it proceeded to go north down, and remember that Kemet was not there. It took many thousands of lineage of the soot coming from the mountains to form that landmass that we now call Kemet. It was not there. You know, and as it started to form, our people kept following the Nile and going in there and 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 develop. But they brought all the teachings that they had gathered, as you know, from not only Taiseti but interior Africa, and they brought this. And we, like I said a while back, you will see this in the R Hrw. If you look at it, if you really look at the text of the R Hrw, it shows you that they had a stellar mythos first. They understood the stars, that guiding thing, and especially that main one, Sepet, and that was its guiding star, and that a lot of the things were based off of that. Then the mother principle, when they recognized the mother principle, it went into the lunar, and it tied into the woman, it tied into her menstrual cycle. It would follow the weighing of the moon and the phasing of the moon. So we had our millennium, over 1,000 years of following the lunar cycle, and then finally it went into the solar. And so we transition, and we're still going. And so when you hear Proverbs, I tell everyone, when you read something, take out of it what you can, what pertains to you, what's, you know, it might not all be that, or you make it that your mind, what we're supposed to do with this thing is meditate on it. Baba used to tell us that meditation was good, and you meditate on something and you'll get an answer back. He says, you don't supposed to act on it right away. And we were like looking at him like, what? Well, that could have came. Yeah, you got to answer that. You don't know where it came from. You got to work on that one as you proceed. That, like, and it was just like, okay, what I got to do while this stuff is going on in my body. And it was me who went back to him, said I wrote them a letter, and I walked in there, heard, and I'm like, 1 week ain't going to do it. I'm going to take 2. I'm going to take as long as it is till I get back to the ability to speak and a little bit clearer and let you understand what I was going on. Now, one of the doctors didn't like what I had to say and said some things that I thought, but when I went to the next one, she kind of understood. She said, how many weeks you did? 3? Okay. You're not going to do no more. I can't force you. Okay, we're going to build a program off of that. From this 3 weeks, see how much progress, and we're going to do some follow-up, more exams this upcoming month, and then we'll work on how we would do it if you had completed all 6 weeks. And that worked. My spirit was like, yes, now I can, and I said, you don't want to go into something feeling bad about it. So you want to go about this good. Now, is anyone that's listening wrote anything about this week's?
Yes. St. Curtis had made a couple of comments on what we're discussing. He says, therefore, our challenge is to learn to live a way of life that finds, maintains, and restores balance as we experience the events of life on a daily basis. He also said, balancing the need to nourish our instinctual and spiritual, as this culture is filled with temptations designed to direct our attentions to sati- uh, satisfaction, excuse me, of our instinctual self to the detriment of our spiritual self. And lastly, he says, this current European culture built on the weaponization of the Christian religion to hide from us knowledge of our true self, spiritual, know thyself. Ashe.
And now we must understand that Christianity, when it came forth, now we're talking about Constantine. So we got to put a little bit of history into what we're teaching. At the time of this, remember Rome was a massive empire. It had grown out of the landmass, which we call Italy, had gone to the east and to the west, all the way out of past Asia Minor into Asia. And when you had this massive empire, uh, every every place had their own concept, you know, and they realized that they couldn't just impose Jupiter and his wife Hera the way they looked at it, because they all had their different kinds of in Krishna, everyone had their little thing. When Christianity manifested itself and what came forth out of Kemet, northern Kemet, into this massive empire, it was one after the battle of where Constantine was able to take control of the whole empire. He seen Christianity as a means, as a political means, and it was for the world. So we have to understand that this is a political thing that brought everything to unify a massive empire. And then right after that, we can see that at the time of Muhammad, the way they came about, they did the same thing. Okay. Um, so it is a political thing. Remember, the Dark Ages was not so much dark as we perceive it. There were learned people in Europe and all these people and it became a political thing, a power.
Yep.
So if I can keep my peasants or serfs or everybody dumbfounded and keep them on a basic knowledge, even in this, even in Kemet, you can see this thing and that they had, not everyone was schooled. They had a basic knowledge, and it was a political power. Do not think that we did not use the spirituality in a political way.
That's right.
Because they found out that unification, everybody understood things in a political way. Remember, it was 4 schools of thought that manifested itself in Kemet. And each nome, they had their own trinity. Their own trinity. That's why one of the last things in the 42 laws of Ma'at, I will not disrespect the way a township is worshiping the divine. You understand? Because in the intertwine, it kind of all interactions. And so that is so true what St. Curtis was manifesting. But we have to go a little bit deeper and say that it was used against us mostly because they brought us into, but you remember the corruption even the people that were enslaving us or doing wrong, their minds were corrupted by that too.
That's right. Because they were only given, it was like, just like you said in Kemet, even in the ancient ways, even though the civilization all understood the so to speak laws of Ma'at, everybody didn't speak Medu Neter. Everybody didn't have the skills to read the signs and things like that. Just like you said, for the beginning of time, a lot of spiritual, which later became what we now call religion, has been used in those ways to control that type of part of the society, for gatekeepers. There's a couple of books I'm sure that you've all read before or have even heard of. One of them is Jesus Wars, and another one, Christianity Before Christ. Well, in Jesus Wars, it talks about Constantine, those Council of Nicaea, and those things like that, on even how and who determined the way it was going to be practiced, what was going to be accepted in the books, and things like that. So they never gave, like you just said, even those who were slave masters and owners, they didn't give all those folks, slave trade, the information or the details to how these so to speak religions were actually to be conducted. They manipulated them to what they needed them to be in order to control the people, not just the lower class people, because it wasn't just to control slaves. It was to control all functions of political parties, all the monies, all the business, all the resources. If we give this group of people who has the oil or who has the gold, we're going to give them this portion of it. We're going to give this group of people this portion of it, so that the only thing that they know in this concept is this portion that we've given them. They won't know what's beyond or even how these portions came to be, but this is the portion that they're going to be masters of. So
Yeah.
that's how you get into, now we have a hierarchy of who's who in the world. You know what I mean? Because that's what, again, let me say it again, just like you read. Guard thy speech, for man ruins lives with his tongue.
Yeah. Well, you can see that throughout Kemet. A lot of it is the tongue, the verbal. This is the most powerful thing in the world. The ability to speak and manifest, and whatever we speak forth, it can be manifested. That's why I used to tell women, stop saying men are dogs, because a dog has a nature. If you're talking about a male dog has a nature. So when I used to see male dogs going out and acting crazy or running, it's because they were getting the scent or the thing that the female was ready to procreate and then eat. And so, yes, all the dogs went out, male dogs went after that. So we have to, as we study in this, and as I always tell everyone, and we want to manifest this culture, is that you will have the spirituality side of this, and then you'll have the scientific, and when we merge both of them, we call that metaphysics. And all of y'all, most of you have went, and when you signed up into the shrine of Ma'at, I don't think it was manifested to you as brought forth to you as much as this. It is good to do the rituals, it's good to do the mantras, it's understanding but now your next journey is the metaphysics. It's the understanding of the physical and the multi levels of cosmics. It deals with math. It deals with physics, architecture, geometry. All these things, as you follow into this culture that you're going to deb in. And how do you deb? You say, well, do I buy all these books? No, this sometimes turn on the History Channel and listen. It's new things coming out that these Europeans are discovering that our teachers were not. But we look at it now with a first eye awakening when we hear of these things being brought forth. You're going to have your historical, and you're going to have to look for rare books. Hold on one second.
And while you're grabbing that, Himnetta, I'm just going to recognize some of the folks who are in the chat.
Yeah, and let me hear some of what they're saying too. Would love to.
We have, I'm just going to recognize some of them. I'm not sure if we yet, Kazi is taking Sinette Oye is taking a look and see what the comments are, but I wanted to just recognize some folks that we do see here. She already mentioned Sin Curtis. We have our Sin Jason Holmes here. We have Sinette Love Peace. We also have, let's see, I thought I saw some others here. I think that's it. And I think there are some more comments there. Are there more comments there?
Yes. Sin Curtis said, please read Urugu, I believe, Dr. Marimba Ani.
Mm-hmm.
And then he says, Ra, I'm having a hard time seeing what that is. Ra Netcher. Ra spoke the material into existence from the triple darkness of none. And then he said the word, sound, tone, frequency, and vibration.
Mm-hmm. So, and I have 2 books. They might be out of print, but we can try to look for them if you can go to an ancient book, because it's 2 points of I trying to get I feel needs to be done is understanding Kemet before it became Kemet.
Mhm.
We need and I found two books that I added to my library years ago. I think these were let me see I'll give you the names real quickly, but let's see when it was. One going back to 1996. It's been a while,
I got my
and
pen. I'm ready.
okay. And the other one is do. This was probably printed. Wait, it was in the 90s too. Okay, so the first book is by Professor James E. Brunson. It's called Before the Unification, Pre-Dynastic Egypt, and Afrocentric View. Here's the cover.
Mm.
Oh, push that over.
Nation.
It's by
Okay.
he told he gives you a little background of him on the back, and then to tell you a little bit about him. So, one of the uh, he takes you back in time, and the one thing is he illustrates the illustrations in here of our top, and understand the landmass and all that is in there. The second one is called Recasting Ancient Egypt in an African Context, and this is by Crawford. And I will put that up. Hold on, let me put that over there. There you go again. And let me put that over. Um, uh, if it might be out of print, but you can check some books that keep ancient literature and old books and see if you can get that and add that to your library. Did anyone by chance also comment on either on what was spoken today, their thoughts, or was it just Sue Curtis?
Justin Curtis. It was Justin Curtis there that I didn't
Okay.
that.
Like other people, as you go along, we want more of y'all to think of it just like we do, and we go back and reflect on the words, and how we interpret it and how we seen it. We like to hear from you just give a little text and let us know how you seen it. This discussion group is to help us to prepare for a week, to manifest this journey that we on. So as the weeks go by, you can reflect on some of this during your times. It might, you be at work, something gets stressful. You was like, I need a break. Well, you go somewhere and sit and you say, I'm tuning off. I'm going to reflect on what was read to me on Sunday, and it gives your mind a chance to center itself, or regroup itself. We always have to regroup ourselves constantly in this as we go through this daily journey and the journey around the sun and the things that we see going on in our world today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very impressed about a lot of things that I see being brought forth. If anybody follow me on Facebook, if I see something come across anything, it goes to my page. If I can send it, and it's there. If anybody go on any of my Facebook page or my my Instagram page, you see the different manifestations of a mess. You will see the spiritual side of a mess. You'll see the intellectual side, the historian side, and then the silly side. The music. I love music, so it'll be all a concept. And sometimes I just put some up there because sometimes you just need to laugh.
Right.
Laughter is good for your soul. I'm trying to tell you. I think it keeps you young. Always remember the child in you, the child Haru in you, the
Mhm.
ever wandering. I sometimes today I see a lot of postings of parents putting up their children, and you get hooked on a couple that you like. I can't wait to see what they gonna post next about this child. And you
Yeah.
understand, and you just sit up and laugh and wonder. Well, that's connecting to that child in you. You got to go back and just say, "Oh, I want to run around with my Pampers on and throw stuff," like
And
you
to
know.
that note, if you some and some folks who feel like they may not have had such a great childhood, well, you never lose the opportunity because in your adult you can have it now. You can go into that child person now and have those feelings and things that you desired when you were a child. As long as you can, like you said before, if you can think it, you can perceive it. So if you didn't get to climb trees or play in the woods, now we were always in the woods when I was a kid, but
Mhm,
go do it. There's some
mhm,
woods. All you got to do is go to it. You know what I mean? It's never too late as long as you got breath in your body to go and to greet that child in you. Sometimes he or she is waiting for you to come in and recognize them. So go and do that. And I find that, like you said, when you see, you can look at any of our lives over the years. We've all been friends on these social media platforms for a long time, and you can see the manifestations of our lives. And I think it's interesting and it's beautiful because we're always, all of us are always in that Kepper process and becoming, you know what I mean, and transforming. So I think it's those in itself are historical documents. You know what I
mhm,
mean? Looking at each of our paths and different things like that, I think they're wonderful documents, and it's a great way. Social media has its ups and its downs, but it's also a great way to keep record of your life and the
mhm,
things that the different transformations and things that you've become and come into as we've all grown and as we get older, as we mature older. Sinette Kazi, I know that over the years, you and I both, we've seen some amazing, amazing journeys in each other, and it's been wonderful. It's I can go back on your
Yes.
page and look back and just be like, dang, I remember, that.
mhm,
I remember that version. I remember that version
mhm,
too.
And we all
Yeah.
have them. So I think it's great. It's wonderful.
mhm. I am going to say one more thing out of the book of the ancient. I will. It's called Egyptian Proverbs, but we know it's Kemetic Proverbs. I try to, as I one thing I try to do, and it's a good practice, is we flip the words. We know they use these terminologies, but we'll say things. Though like you in the reading, it didn't say Nebuchadnezzar, but Nebuchadnezzar. It said God, so I use Nebuchadnezzar. I might use in there, whatever. So on prayers, and this is what I'm going to leave you with, and anything else we can close. You before the closing out is going on prayers. The house of Nether hates too much speaking, and that threw me off right there. But prayer then, prayer then with a loving heart, a merhad, who petitions are all in secret, hidden. Neter will listen and do thy business and will accept your offering. So I'm going to read this one more time. This is your reading, your thing for the week. The house of Neter hates too much speaking. Prayer then with myrrh, murmuring heart, who petitions all in secret. Neter will listen and do thy business and will accept your offerings. I am going to interject this is that your prayers are not going outside yourself. Neter is not there. If you don't look for Nebuchadnezzar, if you was wondering what you were supposed to, you supposed to cause all as much as hell as you can here, because that's how you wonder. Nebuchadnezzar is not out there.
Mhm.
So when you speaking in silence, you're speaking internally, which we normally do. You talk when you have those conversations. You are speaking with Neter. You are speaking with the Nebuchadnezzar of that divine essence that that helped you to manifest in the womb and come out and be present on this physical plane. That's it. You don't have to share. You don't have to pray out loud. Lord, come. No, no. Speak it in. So it can manifest in this heavenly body that we have.
Mm.
And it will listen and begin doing the work.
Dwa.
Do I?
With that being said, that was so that leads me to a spirit leads me then, but based off of that, is that now we're going to go ahead and get into prayer, which at this time we're not going to speak a prayer. I'm not going to read from a text. I think that everybody that's hearing my voice and everybody that hears it later, everybody that's on this screen, we all know what our individual needs are. Me praying for you won't, just like you said, I don't have more access to Neter than you do. I don't have any more access. You don't have any more access than I do. Him Neter Wasiri is there, same with him. We all have individual needs, whether it be with our health, our body, whatever the case may be. What we're going to do at this time is we're just going to take a moment of quietness and we're going to offer our hearts to Neter, because we all think that we don't have an offer. We have an offering. If you take just a moment, just like you said, him Neter, and keep it in silence, Neter knows within, knows what you need. So let's just take a quick moment, take as long as we need, maybe a moment, to give Neter the glory and to offer up our hearts and move out of the way and allow Neter to work in our favor. So let's just take a moment here. Dwa and Ter.
Winter.
That was
Now,
powerful. Just
your
said,
letter is going to speak out something now. Since I'm getting back and my energy coming back, I want everybody to get ready in the coming months and stuff. We're going to not only read, we're going to start manifesting in some meditation. I have a great many tapes and stuff. We'll take a session out, 15 minutes, and do this. We will do poses of power during those times too. It's time to not only seek the nourish the mind. We're going to do. Um, I will lead in these sessions and poses of power. You one pose of power we already know. We already know this one, but the car, understanding how to move the body and stay in place and look and bring forth car, understanding how they built those structures with the 90-degree angle. We are going to get into the higher portions as we go along. We do a lot of studying and reading, but we have to start moving forward. So when we go out here, out, we're aligning. It's just not the education in the mind and the spirit. You got to You got to tune everything into balance, and this is what we'll just sit up. We already have our own. If you don't have it, get it. The Shrine of Ma'at mattress that that was created for us by one of our divine members from, I forget what group they were in, but they created. They're living in Africa now, and they made this. I think we can still purchase it. Everyone should have it. You can also. It's hard to get you might need a DVD reader, but you plug it in, and if you get you a DVD reader or a CD, you plug it into your computer, and you can open up the DVD and grab the MP4 and bring them to your desktop. Then and after that, once you bring them to your desktop, you can take your tablet or your phone. I have them on my phone, and you add them, create a folder, and put them in there. And all you have to do is hit the music thing, and you can listen to your mantras. You have them with you. Convert them over. But like I said before, we're gonna start adding that when we can, at least once or twice a month. We do something outside of just this. We'll get into discussion of the mathematics of it, simple mathematics. We're going back to school, basically. Yes. And those who are good in math, I want you to chime in. Excellent. I want you to chime in, because this is part of your development. Philosophy. We're going to go into philosophy. Yes. Okay.
Great, and I'm really glad, because
it's time for us to expand. You reach out to the family. Everybody got to get on board. Himnet is coming with a new program. I asked for guidance. My mother told me as I was coming out of a 5-hour surgery, she said, God is not done with you. You have work to do, and you better start doing the work. And I was like, okay, but now, and I get my reminder that I have the ability to speak and do, so I'm going to manifest this for you and anyone else. Himnet always needs help, because the child in me wants to do all these many things, but I do carry the title of Abu priest, Himneta. And you don't be scared to remind me sometime where you at. You're missing Himneta. I'm giving everyone permission. Some people think, oh, I asked someone before. I said, what does that mean? Because I'm Boo, or it don't mean nothing. It's just a title. You know what I'm saying? It's just that I chose to go a little bit further in my studies. And everyone wants to go a little bit further, and I'm always helping and around people, and I have a gift. So this is my ability, but that's just all it means. I'm still that wandering person. So I'm telling you, if you need anything, if you need a little, get on a Boo. We need you. And I'll be like, okay, you understand? It was a hidden call that you manifested way before the morning. By the morning I was up, and I was like, it was the strongest urge that I had to be on today. It was like, you got to be on today. No missing time.
Oh, yay. It was the same. She just happened to be texting me early in the morning, and I'm looking, and I'm like, she's not. And then I that's why in the morning, when we first started, I was getting emotional, because the Neteru moves within each of us. When they're supposed to, in the right time. We're always in the right time at the right place.
And with Zori, we with you, brother. You see,
I just had a feeling. I don't know. I just kept saying something's wrong. I have a feeling.
He needed all the energy, and this is you see, with Zori, my brother, you understand him that it works with you. You couldn't do your normal, but there's always another energy out here. And like I said before, please reach out I'm reaching out to him. I speak to him. Rosared,
Right.
Shasha,
Yeah,
even brother
all of
Jamar, he's a hymn netter. I
yeah,
know he
oh
does
yeah.
good music. He's a hymn netter. Go snatch him up and say, we want you to come in one week. Kepler, all of them. You reach out to them and say, please come on. And as you can see, when I first got sick and you asked them to come, they showed up. So
Showed up.
don't be scared to ask them to show up again. You know, you know.
And dua for that reminder.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
Dua for that reminder. Because
yeah.
sometimes we feel like we bothering people,
Right.
Oh, we don't want to bother nobody. Y'all
Mm,
got so much on y'all plates. You know
mm,
what I mean?
I do,
So
but
he
I
said,
still.
come snatch you up. So we going to do
Yeah,
that.
thank me up. As you can see right there, there it is. That's that what I got there. That said that I chose to go this extra mile. You understand? That's why it's up. It's not in a book somewhere. It's up on my wall. Every section from the time only one I don't have, and I don't know where it is. The one is from the Shrine of Ptah. Finishing when I came inducted into the Shrine of Ma'at priesthood. Before that, I went on to Kemet, and I with our divine teacher Aswai Crazy. I did that Kemet tour. There it is. It says you. So there you put these things up as reminders of everything you do. And like I said before, that helps me out. Y'all helping me out when you be like, "I'm mess where you at?" I know, and and if my spirit is up, I'm gonna be there. The warrior's gonna be there. The teacher's gonna be there. The friend, the silliness, the child, everything is coming. So with that note, I can go on a ramble. So let me.
Well, do I. So we did our prayer. I didn't have any announcements, and honestly, you all for balancing the scales this week, just meditate on what Hivnetta Ames has said. It's been a wonderful build this morning, as always.
Mhm.
Hivnetta Wasiri, we are definitely sending you myrrh and high energy. Get your
Yes.
rest, and to Sinette Terra for always, just being
The-
that backbone, being that queen, being that strength that's necessary.
She's
That
not alone. She has a family, and
she
we
does.
have to.
You
She
know,
does. We have
she,
all have a
she
family.
reminds me of our set. Just making sure things are kept together. So she
Mhm.
knows, that she can reach out anytime, and if she needs, anything from any of us. But and Sinette Kazi, just Sinette Oye, we look our bond is of sisters is a little
Mhm.
a little, just like you said, we a little bit of this and a little bit of that all together.
A little bit of that.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
balance each other out.
That's right. That's right. You
Mhm.
got that right. So
Mhm.
that
And
being
then, and,
said,
and and like we said before. Oh, I know. I'm just reminding you because when it get warm, I heard there was some food your way. I heard you be putting together some dishes.
I do. And I
You
got a
know.
son-in-law who a master chef, pretty much.
I'll
I can
go
cook
down there to
everything down
pick up.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Who's rolling with me?
yeah.
Oh,
Come
oh,
on
well, I
down.
do have something. I know a lot of people are in one group or another, but I'm very proud of the Shimsu Haru group. One thing I'm going to speak out and give them credit on is that they have begun this thing of an annual get together. So this is one of the things I don't know if anybody, but make sure if you have not heard, talk to them. Even reach out if you come from one of the other groups that was went through the Shrine of Ma'at and see if how to put one together for you. We should have. I'm depending on how my things go this year. I'm gonna. I couldn't go attend last year, but I might attend this. I don't know if they have a new city yet or someplace.
If they're
I
going to
know when I went
Detroit.
to Chicago, I had a wonderful time there, and I always see the feedback of the group that went to St. Louis, and the sisters that began that and everyone else, and they all got together, had one. So we need to do that more. But if your group has not, I'm not expecting your group to do it this year. Go join them.
Mhm.
Go join them.
Don't
Be
be in
with them.
Detroit.
Remember, we all came out of the Shrine of Ma'at, so go. They would love to see more of y'all there with them and talk. We all over the. Just reach out on your list and say we're going to do this. This is how we're going to bond a lot better and get our group a little bit better. And even if know people from the Set Society or any other group, I feel that it's too much diversity in the Kemetic family that we all be doing all, even within ourselves. So we have to do this. So, like I said, they're getting ready to form another one. It came across my page. Sometimes they tune in, let them know. I'm proud of them. I know a couple of them here are online. I am so proud of them in this manifestation, and so I want this to carry on into others. And if you are from one of those groups, from the Sims Dwa R Hrw, and you know someone that went through another one, reach out to them and help them to begin this process. We have to get this going. We are now, what is it? We're going on the third year outside of the pandemic, and
Mhm.
we have to do this as part of our healing. Okay, that's what your hymnetta will put out right now. Dwa.
Wow, so that, oh yeah, you want to say something before we close out?
Uh, I don't know. I don't have much to say today. I mean, yeah, I don't really have much to say today. But I guess as I come on a little more and get acclimated a little more, then a little more will start to be pulled out of me or whatever. But y'all pretty much said everything that needed to be said. Like I was taking notes. I'm a forever student. Like, listen, I wasn't playing. But I also had missed a majority of the reading because of my technical difficulties I had over here. So I couldn't really, I didn't have a.
Is there a way to record on this?
It's already recorded. You can go on the page and still look at it. So they're always recorded. So you can,
On
anyone
what
who's
page?
live on the private page in the intro to the Shine. So it's
Okay,
always
and I need somebody to. I forgot. I don't remember the last time about the private page, and I'm in there. So, text that to me.
okay.
Either text it to me or email it to me, and so I can get there. And I'm glad that we are doing this. I didn't know it was being recorded, but glad it's there, and we can
Any of the
share.
old ones, you can go on that page and you can look at all of
Mhm,
this
mhm.
ones as well. But I'll
Oh
make
yeah,
sure to tag you in it. That way you see where it's at. So if you can,
yeah, yeah. We're gonna do this stuff.
all
Do
right.
I?
Well, Dua, everyone. Thank you so much, Dua, for showing up. Always flowers to all of you all. No matter what Siri, we'll be in touch. Much more to you all. Until next week. Shimmy Ma'at.
Shema Marat.
Shimamai. Just one real quick thing that